Hey, I'm Angela Walters from Quilting is My Therapy, and in the last video we learned how to quilt clamshells. And in this tutorial we're going to build off that idea, except we're going to change up the height of them to create a fun stacked squares design. For this tutorial I'm going to use Shorty, a ruler I designed with creative grids, and he's going to help us quilt those beautiful stacked squares. Now Shorty is palm size, which makes him perfect for quilting on sewing machines or long arms. Even though he works great for straight lines, we're going to use his curvy top to create the curved edges of this design. Now if you don't have a Shorty in your quilting stash, don't worry. You can mark these out and freehand them, or you can apply these concepts to regular clamshells. If you want to find out more about the Shorty ruler, you can find the information about that in the description box below. All right, let's get to quilting our stacked squares. I'm going to start by using Shorty to quilt my first row of arcs. I'm going to quilt along the top of my ruler. Until I get to the middle line of my ruler. Now I could keep going around, but I don't want them to be quite as wide because this is a smaller block that I'm filling in. So once I hit that dashed line, I'm going to slide the ruler over, and that's just going to help me make it just a little bit more narrow, not quite as a wide Shorty. And I'm going to repeat across the area. So repositioning, going to the center line, and then sliding my ruler over and continuing on. And there I have my first row of stacked squares, and the last one ended on a partial one. That's perfectly fine. What I'm going to do is travel up and then quilt my next row of squares. For this particular block, I want to quilt that second row of squares so that they're a little shorter and offset from the ones below. Except this time I'm going to use this halfway point as the bottom of my square. If I line my halfway point up along the top of my previous quilted squares, that's going to give me a shorter square in the next time around. Using that straight edge, I'm going to travel along the edge, and I'm going to scoot the ruler over so that I can have it land somewhat in the halfway area. So positioning it there and then quilting around. The registration lines on the ruler is what's going to really help me quilt this design, make it look kind of fun without marking, and really that's the ideal. I'm going to reposition, again using my halfway point. I'm going to quilt up along the top until I get to that halfway mark. And then remember, I want to shift it over because I want to land somewhat in the middle of that previously quilted row. And continuing on. But this time, instead of using the center of my ruler, I'm going to use a line right about here. And I'm going to use the grip that's on the back of my ruler as a guide. So if I line along that grippy right there, that's going to give me my shorter little area. And I think it's going to look perfect. If you have a hard time seeing the grip as you're quilting, you can put a piece of washi tape on there. Just something to help you use as a reference. I'm going to realign it and then quilt along to that next line because I want to make sure it kind of ends towards the middle. And then continue on. And there I have my third row. Since I don't have a whole lot of room left in my block, I think I'm going to do another shorter row and fill it in. I'm going to use a straight edge to travel along the seam and then quilt. then a quick travel, a little echo, and then I'll be finished with my block. In the description box below, you'll find a link to quilting diagrams, so be sure to go down there and check them out. And let's see how our stacked squares are turning out. Isn't it amazing how such a short ruler can have a big effect? So go ahead and try that out on your quilt. But if you don't have a Shorty ruler, it's fine. You can apply these same concepts to your clamshells. Try quilting your clamshells in different heights and widths to see what kind of fun effects you can come up with. Well, let me know if you have any questions. I'm here to help, and I'll be back next week with another machine quilting tutorial. Happy quilting!